G'day, my name's Pete and I'm from Tasmanian Bus Journeys. Not going to talk much about buses today, we're going to talk about must visit Tasmanian destinations. Yes, Wonders of Tasmania. We're going to tell you how to get there by bus, but won't dwell on it. We'll talk more about these wonderful places to visit. I have excluded destinations you can't reach by public bus services. So Cradle Mountain, Bay or Fires and places like that aren't included. Now we start off with honourable mentions. Firstly, the Cataract Gorge in Launceston, right next to the urban area. Spectacular beauty. Also, a fantastic amount of displays at the Tasmanian Museum and Art Gallery, based right in the middle of Hobart. The Paragon Theatre in Queenstown is an amazing place to go. Very much unexpected about what we saw there. And then Launceston Town Hall and Post Office is another honourable mention, as are probably many of their other buildings, many of their other parks. It's a restful, beautiful city. And finally, it's Mount Wellington, and that's at Hobart. Okay, let's start with number 12, the Bicheno coastline, and in the village of Bicheno on Tasmania's east coast. Here we are on a bus, and you can see the marvellous view you get from the bus as we are approaching Bicheno itself. Now, Bicheno is got a bus terminus right on the beach, so you can easily get off. Brilliant, brilliant. Bicheno. Yeah, so this is the view, basically a couple of 100 metres from the bus stop. So yeah, pretty damn awesome. And it is just a short walk up to the bus, and that'll take us back to Hobart. Much varied coastline formations, the geology, and then the different seasons, the tidal patterns, and it is a glorious place to visit Bicheno. You can just stare around you. And then coming back from Bicheno, just showing you a little bit of the coastline south of Bicheno. Amazing place, the whole east coast, really a wonderful place to be. Now let's talk a little bit about the buses going to Bicheno there. And probably the best way is to get the daily service from Hobart to Bicheno. It runs 365 days a year. But you can also get the bus from Launceston, and that bus from Launceston goes to St Helens. And you do have to change buses at St Mary's, but there is a bus that then goes to Bicheno. So that's really quite handy. And there's another service which on weekdays particularly, but other days as well, goes to Coles Bay. So Bicheno. Lots of ways to get there. Number 11, the West Coast Heritage Centre. That's located in the town of Zeehan. And the Heritage Centre is very special. It talks about the background and history of the entire West Coast. Yep, mining is so important as in days gone by, as was the transport then. But the Heritage Centre's got a number of indoor displays, like we've got a
Masonic temple
law court, just marvellous displays. It's also got these wonderful outside areas to wander around and have a look and just experience what it used to be like.
Heritage site at Zeehan. Rusty old trains. Aren't they great? A funicular railway.
The highlight of the display must be the Gaiety Theatre, built in 1898 when Zeehan used to be the third biggest town in Tasmania. It had 10,000 people, and so it had to have a correspondingly big theatre, which is actually bigger than, in terms of space, the Theatre Royal in Hobart. Really amazing place. You can just sort of feel what it must have been like going back to 1898. To get there, which is in Zeehan, you can get a bus from Burnie to Zeehan. It runs every day, and there's a short walk to the West Coast Heritage Centre from the bus stop. That bus goes on to
Queenstown.
Number 10 is the Shot Tower in the Hobart suburb of Taroona. Great views on the way.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. You got it, the Shot Tower, a unique attraction and feature on this bus route of 429, and we're just going to go up, 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 up. I've just been up there. There it is, right up there.
Built in 1870, the Shot Tower is 58 metres tall, and it was a tower where molten shot was poured down, and it would form then perfect round shot as it went down this huge tower. Now I'm about to walk up it with my dodgy knees, and the result's spectacular.
I'm going to show you the bus stop. You see that the bus stop's sort of where the car park is, on the junction of the car park and Channel Highway. That's where we've come up from. Yeah, it's a little scary, but look at this view. We've got great views from the bus coming up. It was really splendid, but look at this. Now, isn't this magnificent? A video cannot capture the total splendour of it all.
A great feeling of comfort as the bus glides into the stop. There is an hourly service that goes between Hobart and the Shot Tower. It's run by Metro Tasmania. The bus continues on to Kingston, so there's another way of getting there.
Now back to the West Coast. Looking up.
Number 9, the West Coast Wilderness Railway, situated in Queenstown.
The first stop is
Litchford Station. We have a delightful early morning steam experience where the train
takes on some water.
The West Coast Wilderness Railway, built originally in 1897, a vital transport means, closed in 1963 but reopened in 2002. You see the wonderful King River below. Spectacular.
The destination of the Wilderness Railway.
You can peer out the window backwards. Now it's harder for a bus. I must admit, I was a little bit carried away with all this reversing and steam, and found it incredibly fascinating. A really good look around, and all of a sudden I realised that everyone else was on the train and I wasn't. So it was a bit of a scamper down the platform and trying to find where my carriage was, but I did find it. And here it is, the Wilderness Railway depot. You can see the spare diesel locos, some spare coaches, tractors. So to get to the Wilderness Railway in Queenstown, there is a daily service from Burnie. It's the same one that went to Zeehan actually, and that service goes through to Strawn, another option. There is also a service which runs from Hobart to Queenstown, but that only runs twice a week. It's a delightful railway for enthusiasts and those who love scenery. Number 8 is the Huon River, south of Hobart. It's a personal favourite of mine.
Oh, look at that.
Beautiful river.
Beautiful river.
Reflections are gorgeous.
Oh, gee.
So as we wander down from the town of Huonville heading towards Franklin, you can see the many different angles and moods of the river as we've taken the footage on a variety of different times and visits, and it's very, very, very lovely. Here we're going through towards Castle
Forbes
Bay, and when we get further along you can see right up the Huon River, and it's really quite amazing. Now that's the beauty of bus travel. Of course, you're sitting up in an elevated position and you get these wonderful views here, finally going down towards Dover. You can see the Huon River in the distance. Ah, fantastic. And going down on the bus, it's a day trip. You have to come back on the bus unless you want to stay there overnight. And then you get all sorts of different lights and moods of the river on your trip back. Oh, I just love it. Wow. Bus, yeah, look, every 2 hours there is a bus to Geeston, which is a good termination for your trip. There are 4 services on weekends, and some of the services to Geeston extend as far as Dover. So number 7 is the Penguin in the township of Penguin on Tasmania's northwest coast.
When I got off the bus this morning to get off and look at the Penguin railway station, that was my sole aim, I couldn't resist but come and see my old friend. Yes, it's the Penguin of Penguin, towering above me. What a great bird you are. What a great bird. Hey, haha. A TARDIS from Doctor Who. And the reason why the TARDIS is a little bit small is to make the Penguin look a bit bigger. But there he is, my friend the Penguin. I love it. Well, here we are at Penguin. We've had a bite, but now it's time to have a drink, and this is one of the best places on the northwest coast to have a beer.
Once you've had enough of looking at the Penguin Penguin, there's lots of other lovely places and shops, as well as historic buildings to look at. Here is a lovely rear approach to the Penguin, but the most important thing is this beautiful foreshore that we have there. And it's typical of the northwest coast again, and Tasmania in general. I guess we are an island, but it is a really, truly lovely place to have a beer or just to sit. The buses are ever present and will take us back. Now, how do we get to Penguin? Well, there's a bus stop at Penguin West, which is very close to the Penguin, and the services run from both the cities of Burnie and Devonport on an hourly basis, Monday to Saturday, Sundays, every 2 hours. So number 6 is the Callington Mill at Oatlands. The Callington Mill. So as you go through Oatlands, on itself a wonderful, wonderful place to go. I keep on seeing this mill in the background, and eventually you get around to exploring it. You go up Mill Lane, and of course you take some of your friends and you have a look at what this is all about. Well, it is a complex there. It features the mill and support buildings as well. Now, another big highlight of it all is that it's the site of a whisky distillery, and that has also got some very nice whiskies to try, and also you can go there for lunch. It's a great place. But anyway, a little bit more about the mill. It was built in 1837. It's the third oldest type of this mill in Australia, and when it's operating, as you can see there, it's absolutely spectacular. You really feel as if you're in another world. 1837 it was built to grind flour. It's sort of stopped and started, and the whisky distillery associated with the build now was built in 2021. Let's see how to get there. Oatlands is on the inner city bus route between the intercity services between Launceston and Hobart. You've got a request to go to Oatlands. The services are 3 a day, Monday to Sunday, only 2 on Saturday. Number 5 is Richmond Bridge in Coal Valley, which is just northeast of Hobart. When you go on the bus, which is route 725 or 726, you go through Richmond, and then the bus turns to go to the bus station. Now, if you stay on the bus, it will go over this fabulous Richmond Bridge, a truly iconic and historic feature of Richmond. It marked the halfway point between Hobart and Port Arthur, and it was a vital crossing of the river for the transportation of supplies to Port Arthur and Convicts and etc. A unique route. The bus goes over the bridge on all services.
The Richmond Bridge, built around 1823, although other research indicates they finished it in 1825. Anyway, it's a nice bridge, isn't it? My wordy.
Just so many things to do around Richmond, and here is a view further down. You can walk along the river, that's lovely. Walk through the village, that's all lovely. But I can spend ages staring at this wonderful bridge.
Marvellous, isn't it?
What about some lunch?
The Richmond Arms in 1827. Most places in Richmond have been around here for 200 years.
To get to Richmond by public bus service is pretty easy. There's a service roughly every 2 hours, Monday to Friday, a little bit less frequently on Saturdays. You catch the bus from Hobart. You can also go as far as Campania. Number 4 is Port Arthur. Now, when you're sitting on the Tasman Peninsula bus, route 734, you get some beautiful scenery. It was worthwhile travelling to Port Arthur just for that. But when we got to Port Arthur, it was a marvellous place. Now, there is a hell of a lot of YouTubes on Port Arthur. Every man and his dog has got something to say about Port Arthur. So I'm not going to say much more other than it was established in 1830 and it was there to house convicts, which was the core industry of Tasmania between 1833 and 1877. But the thing I like about Port Arthur in particular, it's great history, but it's just a very haunting place. We went there in the late afternoon, and it just had its own sort of special feel and mystery about it. You feel like you were going through somewhere very different, another age, another time. And of course, after all that, it's great to have some dinner. We had dinner at Port Arthur Motor Inn, and guess what? There was views of Port Arthur whilst we were having dinner, so that was lots of fun. The bus services to Port Arthur, there is only a daily service there, and you have to stay overnight because the bus departs Hobart pretty late in the day. The service goes on to Nubina, so there's another option for you to consider. In bronze medal position at number 3, it's the Tasman Bridge in Hobart. This is
The bridge
that spans both the eastern shore and the central areas of Hobart. It's absolutely critical. It forms a vital link between Hobart Port, as you can see, the CBD there, and Hobart's northern suburbs. Up there we also see the Mount Wellington, which had honourable mention. It provides a vital lifeline, and it's been with us since 1965. When people are on the bus, they get always very excited when they see it. Lots of conversation. You can see it on the right-hand side there. But the other thing I really enjoy is just looking at the Derwent River as we approach the bridge. So common that you're focusing on the bridge, but the river is just as magnificent. In fact, more so in many ways. Hobart has a very deep harbour port, and it's really worthwhile exploring. So up we go across the bridge. What a fabulous view you get from the bus, and this is looking southwards to the mouth of the River Derwent. There is a fairly short distance to be covered, and there is nowadays a ferry. In fact, the distance is 1,396 metres. Now, a little bit history of the bridge is that as we cross it and look north, this bridge was knocked down in 1975, unfortunately, and it was rebuilt. And so there was quite a lot of ferries that operated in the 3 years it took to rebuild. Now, a bit of railing there, but you do get the idea. There's some lovely things to look at further on. Now, talking about ferries, And I've mentioned there is a ferry service now running in Hobart again. It does present an alternative way.
Ferry is coming here into Belrive Pier.
Of looking at the bridge. Let's have a look now at the bridge off the ferry.
So in the distance you can see the Tasman Bridge, the bridge we came over this morning by bus, and it paints an awesome sight today. What a wonderful view.
Okay, so to get over the bridge by bus, you've got to go to stop D4, better still stop A3 in central Hobart in Elizabeth Street. The services from stop A3 are a high frequency 10-20 minute type service. If you can find the metro shop, there's further information, but you can walk down to the Brook Street Pier and get that lovely ferry. It runs only during peak times on weekdays and on Saturdays. In the silver medal position, yes, it's number 2, Salamanca Precinct and Place in Hobart. We're going to tell you how to walk down there. We go down Murray Street, just passing St David's Cathedral, the Treasury buildings, and an assortment of other old buildings. We go right down to the bottom of Murray Street, and ultimately there is Parliament House on the right. But when you get to the bottom, have a look around. Yes, a quick look at Brook Street here. And it's also a bit of a hub for bus services, the bus to Mount Wellington there, Sky Bus goes there, as well as the round Hobart double-decker bus. Parliament House, established in 1841 and amended and worked on since that date, is the Parliament for the Tasmanian state government. Beautiful lawns. And then there is Abel Tasman. This is a memorial to Abel Tasman, who
Visited Tasmania in 1642.
and gave us the name of Tasmania, which been since the 1850s. Let's get back to what we're really meant to be doing, and that is looking down Salamanca. Now, Salamanca was named after the 1812 Battle of Salamanca, where the Duke of Wellington, whom we named Mount Wellington after, fought and very successfully against the French. Now, in the 1840s, this was the waterfront started, and here we show the Salamanca Square development. This is a more recent development, which was around the turn of the century. This used to be just a quarry. Great place to sit and have lunch, and here we're showing Mr. Wooby's Lane. Great night spot, and had a fair bit of fun there.
These sandstone built warehouses were used for whaling from 1840 to 1890, and then until 1964 stone fruits and apples. In those days
We didn't have enough money to knock down these lovely warehouses, and that was a big bit of luck. There was a decline in the 1960s, but there was a revival where the precinct was turned into an entertainment precinct.
In 1972, the fabulous Salamanca Saturday morning market was established. Absolutely a must-visit occasion.
Historic view from there, much photographed, but this is the Salamanca I remember from my youth. Much different, not very much business activity, not many places to go, but it was mainly used as a very good car park. So this is one place which is not much point to get a bus to. If you're walking, we're asking people to walk down Collins Street and have a look at all the old buildings in Murray Street, plus the Treasury buildings. Look around Brook Street Pier Precinct and Parliament House down Salamanca via Salamanca Square. You go there, it's pretty good. Very easy walk of about 10 minutes.
Nearby conveniences are shown.
You can catch a bus from opposite the town hall in Elizabeth Street to Salamanca, but it only goes 2 bus stops. Anyway, there's the nearest bus stop, that's in St David's Park. Right, drum roll. Gold medal winner, the Nut at Stanley. It's an iconic place, Very much so. You can just really get the feeling for it. Just approaching it, you get that ripple of excitement. So, what is the nut? Well, it is a volcanic plug. It's about 8.5 to 12.5 million years old. It's right behind a fantastic village.
Now we're close up to the mighty nut, Stanley Nut, an icon of Tasmania.
Yes, it's glorious in its splendour, and it's almost impossible to photo it
Properly.
Now, the day we were due to get some beautiful video, it rained. Now, we got up halfway roughly, and there's the chairlift. It was closed because of the rain. However, we'd been there previously on a sunny day, haven't we? Yeah, we've shown this to you on previous videos where the chairlift was definitely operating, and it does operate 7 days a week normally. You get up to the top and it's like walking around a different world, a different environment. It's absolutely fascinating. The views are absolutely tremendous, but just make sure you don't walk off the edge of the nut. That's not that good. Stanley Port there, you can see from the nut, used to be very, very important in the days gone past. A beautiful place, that Stanley Nut. We love it so much, and always good to have dinner
At Stanley Hotel.
after going up the nut. Now, travelling there by bus, there is a daily service which does travel to Stanley. You have to get the Burnie. I've done several YouTubes on how to do that, and it goes as far as Smithton, another option for you. Daily service, and you have to stay overnight at Stanley. Well, let's recap what we've just seen. Bicheno coastline we started off with, and then over to the west coast, bit of heritage. Back to Hobart, the Shot Tower, the Wilderness Railway, also on the west coast, the Huon River, spectacular, and Penguin. Now, if you did enjoy this video, do consider subscribing to Tasmanian Bus Journeys, and also perhaps giving us a like. I appreciate your support a lot. And wrapping up, 6 was the Callington Mill, 4 Richmond Bridge, Port Arthur was next. Tasman Bridge in Hobart, another one, the Salamanca Precinct in Hobart, and finally the absolutely splendid nut. Now, we were fortunate enough to take lots of footage of Salamanca recently, and here we just whiz past the whole row of the Salamanca warehouses, which are so special. You can see all the developments, the restaurants, the shops, and it's a hell of a lot of fun, particularly, as I mentioned, on Saturdays when we have a market. But it's a very important part of Hobart life. We all go there, we all enjoy it very much. There are other areas, but this one is pretty special. We conclude our span through St David's Park. Thank you so much for watching all this. I really appreciate your support, and let me know any comments. That's fantastic.